Join me as I dive into the history books to uncover the crazy details of the infamous Erfurt Latrine Disaster of 1184. The Erfurt Latrine Disaster of 1184 is a peculiar yet fascinating event in history that has garnered significant attention from historians and enthusiasts alike. This catastrophic event not only shocked the medieval community but also left an indelible mark on the development of public health and safety regulations. One of the primary reasons this disaster remains a topic of interest is due to the sheer scale of destruction it caused. The latrine collapse resulted in one of the highest casualty rates in medieval Europe, leaving a lasting impact on the city of Erfurt and its inhabitants. Despite being over 8 centuries old, the Erfurt Latrine Disaster still holds relevance today, offering valuable lessons in engineering, architecture, and urban planning. As we delve into the details of this infamous event, we'll explore the historical context, the circumstances leading up to the disaster, and the far-reaching consequences that followed. In the medieval era, urbanization was on the rise, and cities like Erfurt were experiencing rapid growth. As a result, the need for efficient waste management systems became increasingly important. Unfortunately, the design of the latrine in question was flawed from the outset, setting the stage for a disaster waiting to happen. In the 12th century, personal hygiene was not a high priority, and the concept of sanitation was still in its infancy. The majority of the population relied on primitive toilets, often little more than wooden seats over open cesspits. The Erfurt latrine, meant to serve the local community, was a poorly constructed wooden structure built over a large pit. During this time, the social hierarchy of Erfurt was divided between the aristocracy and the common folk. The aristocracy resided in the upper city, while the common people lived in the lower city, where the latrine was located. This division would later play a significant role in the events that unfolded. The lower city was a hotbed of activity, with narrow streets and closely packed wooden houses. The air was thick with the smell of human waste, animal excrement, and industrial activities. It was only a matter of time before a disaster like the latrine collapse would occur. As the population of Erfurt continued to grow, the strain on the city's infrastructure became increasingly apparent. The latrine, already a health hazard, was pushed to its limits, becoming a ticking time bomb waiting to unleash its devastating consequences. On that fateful day in 1184, the latrine's wooden structure finally gave way, sending tons of human waste and debris crashing down into the pit below. The resulting explosion of toxic gases and the subsequent collapse of surrounding buildings sealed the fate of the unsuspecting victims. Panic set in as the sounds of screams, crashing wood, and splintering stone filled the air. The cries of those trapped beneath the rubble and the futile attempts to rescue them only added to the chaos. In the immediate aftermath, the survivors were left to pick up the pieces, many of whom were left homeless and without access to basic necessities. The stench of death and decay hung heavy over the city, a constant reminder of the tragedy that had occurred. As the news of the disaster spread, the reactions were a mix of shock, horror, and disbelief. The city's authorities were forced to take immediate action, quarantining the area and launching a massive cleanup effort. The Erfurt Latrine Disaster marked a pivotal moment in the development of public health and safety regulations in medieval Europe. The tragedy served as a stark reminder of the importance of infrastructure design, waste management, and urban planning. In the years that followed, cities across Europe began to re-examine their own sanitation systems, implementing changes that would save countless lives in the centuries to come. The Erfurt Latrine Disaster had finally brought the issue of public health to the forefront, forcing medieval societies to confront the dark realities of their own neglect. So, what can we learn from this tragic event? The Erfurt Latrine Disaster of 1184 serves as a poignant reminder that even the most seemingly insignificant events can have far-reaching consequences. If you've got a favorite historical disaster or one that you're curious about, let me know in the comments below. And if you're interested in learning more about medieval history, be sure to check out our video on the Black Death and its impact on European society.